Hi, this is Lacey from Bourbon House, and you're watching CMS TV.
And what is up, everybody? It is Chris Aiken back once again with another edition of Chris Aiken Presents, the live version. Joining me, as always, the guitarist of the mighty Stephen Piercy, the rat bastard himself, Mr. Cool himself, Mr. Eric Ferentinos. Eric, how are you, my friend?
Doing very well. Chris Aiken Presents, 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 Chris Aiken Presents.
I'm going to let you just keep going. That'll kill the whole show.
I think that's all the lyrics to that song, isn't it?
I think that's more than there is. I think I'm waiting for you to rewrite it and re-record the Chris Aiken
it's
Presents.
funny you should mention that because, I love all the 80s shit and I'm always looking for a new backdrop for the show
Sure.
every week. And the song One Day at a Time, it pops in my head sometimes, especially when my life's going really shitty and I need to take it one day at a time. It's the crazy song I sing in my head when I'm about to have a nervous breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. So I had that. Yeah. So I I had that song in my head. So today when I was thinking of a picture to use, I thought of Valerie Bertinelli's show One Day at a Time with Schneider and everybody. And when I looked it up, I was looking for images, and lo and behold, they're doing a stupid fucking reboot.
Oh, it's terrible.
I haven't watched it, but I just go, what the fuck is this? I thought it was another Mandela effect. I'm like, what's going on? This isn't One Day at a Time. All the photos were of the Big Bang Theory people.
Yeah, dude, it is me and Neely actually covered it. It is the most woke, stupid shit. Everything is, it's a Spanish lady. And the daughter is, of course, gay, and it deals with every stupid social manipulation you can possibly get into, and criticizing people. We did one episode of it where they went to a restaurant and they're just being loud and obnoxious in a restaurant. And some white guy says, "Hey, could you hold it down? Me and my wife are trying to enjoy our dinner." To which it's like, "You're a racist for picking on me, and you mind your business, white devil." It's just, it's the worst. It's on Netflix, or it was on Netflix. I think it already got canceled, but
hopefully.
But it was a bag of shit, my friend. Unlike the original.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to admit, with the original, let's talk there. You know me and TV, I love it.
That's right.
The original, the show itself was not that great until Valerie Bertinelli aged up and feathered her hair.
Mm-hmm.
When she was the young girl that was bouncing the basketball and stuff all the time, not a good show. About season 3 or 4, when she feathered her hair and got really, really hot, like when Mackenzie Phillips had her first drug thing and was off the show. So they had to focus on Valerie Bertinelli. So they really dolled her up. Now you're talking about a good show.
You're talking about when Eddie Van Halen got a hold of her.
Yes. Well, I'm sure Eddie Van Halen helped her tease up that hair, and whoo.
They looked like twinsies back then, actually. It was a little weird. People thought they were brother and sister. They looked very, very much alike around that time that they were together. It was kind of creepy.
Are you with me that she's one of the hottest ever? As far as TV hot, I mean.
You know what? She's still fantastic. I watched, recently I was on a plane and she had a cooking show.
Okay.
That was phenomenal. It was Italian cooking that her nanny taught her.
Yeah.
And I was all in on that. In fact, I was fantasizing of how cool it would be if she had invited me over for dinner to eat some of that stuff and have some wine with her and her girlfriends.
Right.
That would be so fun. So I hope I hope she does invite me someday for that. It looks amazing.
I know, she was obviously on a show that was Cleveland centric. So of course I watched every episode of Hot in Cleveland. And man, that was a weird show with her, because if you watch the arc of Hot in Cleveland, she went from smoking hot Valerie to fat Valerie, back to smoking hot Valerie, back to fat Valerie. It's like with each season, she was either thin Valerie or fat Valerie, and she went
Valerie.
She was Valerie, exactly. She was Valerie, and apparently Wolfgang Van Halen followed the fat suit part of it with her.
Right.
My goodness, that boy likes to eat. Super talented, but loves to eat.
Can't blame him though. I mean, looking at her cooking on that show,
yeah,
I'd be a fat fuck too.
Well, just think about it. You're living with somebody that likes to cook like crazy. So there's that thing. Secondly, she's always battled her weight. So that's in the genes anyway. That's in the Bertinelli side of the genes anyway, is the being fat thing. And third, this kid has never wanted for anything for his entire life. So where's the real incentive to, turn down that piece of pizza or that cake or whatever? Where's the incentive?
I could even go for a fourth thing going on,
Go ahead.
I actually recently read about that's more of a psychological explanation for it. But apparently youths that are in really unstable situations in their childhood tend to gravitate towards abusing food and stuff later because it's something that they can control, which they weren't able to control those things in their childhood. So now that's one thing that they just felt they always could control, is how much food they're sticking in their mouth.
Sure.
So that's another possibility.
The only thing I ever wonder with a guy like Wolfie and Valerie Bertinelli and any celebrity that gets fat, and I get it myself because I get absolutely dogged for being a fat fuck. Without question, there's at least 2 to 5 posts or messages that come in that start or end with "you fat fuck" or "fatso" or "you or mix in a salad, any sort of those things that I get every single week. And that's me on the smallest level with these little tiny podcasts that are,
Well, so people know at home though, because I've hugged you myself, and you're like a firm fat though. It's like
I'm fat.
No, but it's good. It's fun. It's like yeah.
I'm a big fat tub. I'm a big fat tub of shit. I'll admit it.
No,
I'm a big fat tub of shit that has like retard strength behind it. Like
I totally know you're strong. I know.
I'm like a fat gorilla. That's really what I'm like. I've got like that gorilla strength, and I will pick anybody up and just body slam them, no matter how big they are.
I've told the story many times of how initially I was really pissed off at you and Neely.
Sure.
For talking a bunch of shit about the Stephen Piercy band. I only heard the audio at that point, and I was like, these motherfuckers.
Right.
I'm going to kick their ass. In fact, I'm going to take this Neely motherfucker. I'm going to pick him up, and then I'm going to use him to hit this Chris guy. And because in my head, I pictured these totally different looking people than what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be Dog the Bounty Hunter and fucking Magilla Gorilla, So at this point, I had to just I could not beat these guys, so I had to join them. And now I'm part of the team.
Yeah, now you're in the crew. You've made the CMS family, but
yeah, and Charlie Cat.
Yeah, and Charlie Cat, who
one day at a time.
At least Charlie Cat's like 900 miles from me, to where I can't put her in a bag and throw her out off a boat somewhere.
Oh, dare you joke like that?
But no, back to the fat thing. I get harassed about it, which is fair. It's fine. I've said this on the CMS a million times. As a fat guy, if you don't want to be dogged for being fat, fucking lose weight. If it's that important to you, then eat fucking salad all day long. Go vegan. Honestly, if you care that much about it, I don't give a shit who you are. You can lose weight. I'm a big fat tub of shit. And the reason I'm a big fat tub of shit is because I like pizza, not salad.
Right.
I just tell them the truth. People, I always love when fat guys lie. They give you that, well, it's my thyroid and it's my, no, it's not. No,
I'm big boned.
Yeah, I'm big boned. You know what? Fuck you and your big bones.
I'm husky.
There's a simple formula to the human body. If you put in less than 1,000 calories a day, you're not going to be fat. That's just.
I have a question. For you. Like, going back to your elementary school childhood, did your mom make you a lunch? Because my mom made me a lunch. I'll give her that. She did get up
Absolutely.
in time. Maybe okay. Now the bad side to this is my mom's lunches she made for me were
Yeah.
like that of which you would give a overtime construction worker that wasn't going to be coming home for 12 hours or something. Like
Sure.
it'd be like 2 giant meatloaf sandwiches,
Right.
a piece of fruit, like a bag of chips, some
Mhm.
dessert, a fucking
Yeah.
Capri Sun.
Right.
And I was just thinking, man, that had to be like 4,000 calories,
Oh yeah.
I didn't need all that when I was 9.
Right. Right. The period after that, you'd be asleep in class, and the teacher be yelling at you. Why are you sleeping? Because I just ate 4,000 calories and didn't have time to go on the monkey bars and work it off. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude, the fat thing is, people like to make excuses for it. They do, and especially fat people, which drives me as a fat guy nuts. It drives me nuts when fat guys make any excuse other than they like stuffing food into their face more than they like fucking working out and
Yeah.
eating right. You know, I could lose weight. I've done it. When I first got divorced, I lost 150 pounds. But I mean, I was doing yoga every day. I was eating like 1,200 calories a day. I was really pushing it, and I lost a shit ton of weight, and I fucking was not happy. So I was like, "Fuck it," I'm gonna eat again, and I started eating again. I found it. I found those 150 pounds. I found them back,
I
and I
think
don't care.
if you were suddenly, like, skinny and I suddenly had an afro, it would be, a situation where people would want the old Chris back and people would
Yeah.
want the bald Eric back.
Well, and I especially fat guys. It's and not even fat, but just anybody. There's only a certain amount of weight that you can lose before you look fucking weird.
Right.
And there's like there's celebrity examples of this. Like you know that you may or may not know this show, and some people may know the show or not know the show, but you know that show Mike and Molly from like 10 years ago. It was like a real
Yeah.
fat lady and a real fat guy. Well,
Vaguely.
the guy lost like 200 pounds to
Right.
where now he's like 6'4", maybe 210, where he used to be like 6'4", 410. And he looked like a big fatso as Mike and Molly. Now he looks like an AIDS patient that's rotting away.
Right.
He's on some other show now called Bob Loves some African name, Abishola or something, some fucking terrible show. But he looks horrible. Another guy that looks horrible that I thought looked pretty kind of cool, fat. John Goodman.
Yeah, I agree there.
When he was on Roseanne and he was Fat Dan, it was like, okay, he was Fat Dan, but he still was like kind of like that cool fat look. Like, yeah, he's fat, but not fat enough that you'd fuck with him. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah,
Stout.
he's fat, but he'll still kick the shit out of you at some point. But now if you watch him on like the Connors or whatever,
Right.
he's got like I don't know what you call it. I guess it's a turkey neck, but it's got like a
Right.
driveway in the middle of it because he's
Mhm.
lost the weight to where the skin hangs on the sides, but it has like a thoroughfare in the middle, and he looks awful. And it's like, dude, you're dying. Eat, just eat. Hell, even recently, not necessarily as famous, but a well-known musician. Have you seen Tim Ripper Owens lately?
I can't say I have.
Owens lost like 65 pounds or something. He was not fat anyway. I mean, I know Tim. I see Tim around town every once in a while. And Tim is probably 6 foot, maybe 6'1".
Mhm.
And for most of even his Judas Priest run and whatever, he was about 220, 230, if I had to guess. And now he's like 150.
Right.
And like he looks rail skinny, but he still has the kind of, now it makes his head look bigger. He almost looks like a cartoon character a little bit because his head is so big compared to his frame that lost like 35% of it.
I fear that myself. That's why I'm not going to Ethiopian right away.
Yeah,
I have a big Charlie Brown head, and it's going to accentuate it if.
See, See, that's me too. Is like I've got this big fat face and fat head.
We
Like,
have big brains, man. You can't keep a big brain and a fucking small head.
I know, but at the same time, if I lose a bunch of weight, it'll look like a fucking
A
mannequin with a beach
lollipop.
ball. It'll look really fucking bizarre
Right
if
now, I
I
look like an egg on stilts.
yeah, right now you're probably at your ideal weight. If I had to guess, if
No,
knowing
no,
you,
no.
you probably want to lose 10 more pounds.
Right. Well, bingo. Yeah,
Yeah.
to keep it real with everybody. I weighed myself yesterday and I was 189 and I need to be 175 to probably feel like I'm where I want to be.
Yeah, and I get that, and I mean you look healthier than you did when you had the heart attack,
Sure.
but at the same time you're starting to get close to that. Okay, that's about enough. To where
Right.
and some people can pull off super skinny better than other people, like your employer as an example.
Sure.
I mean, if you fucking tied 50-pound weights to him, he'd weigh about 150 pounds. I mean, he is
Right.
tiny. What do you think Steven weighs, honestly? 150?
Oh, if I had to guess, probably 160 pounds, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, he pulls it off well. And I don't think, because he's never really had, I don't think he's fluctuated 15 pounds since we first discovered him in the 80s. Has he?
No, there was a time in the early or late 90s, early 2000s where I think his alcoholism was causing him to bloat up
Blowed up a little bit. Yeah.
a bit. Yeah, this was probably when he was in his 40s. And then he just got away from that. People started saying something about it and he went the other way.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that. I'm not going to eat anymore.
He does eat really well, and I've talked about that before, but the guy definitely is very careful about what he eats. So he's got that going for him.
Sure.
Where most Americans don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, and let's face it, he's still, he's 140 years old and he's still running around the stage like he's 30,
Now that his knees are fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he's still you just even watching video of you guys as recently as this weekend, he's all over the stage. He does not, there's so many of his contemporaries, that he came up with, the Dawkins and, the guys like Jamie St. James and whatnot. A lot of those guys, they come up to the front of the stage, they put their foot on the monitor, and that's kind of their pose. That's kind of their rock pose where they just kind of hold the mic stand and they got one foot on the monitor. So it looks like they're charging forward, but really they're just standing perfectly still singing. It's perception.
And it's also, I found too, the more you run around, the shittier the pictures come out.
True.
Like if you strike a good pose, you'll look awesome. I think that sucks. I still run around. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, but you're not singing either. I mean, you're singing backups, but you're not singing full.
I do have a couple lead parts I sing, and like You Think You're Tough, I sing Juan's parts.
Okay.
But if somebody takes a photo when my mouth's forming the words, like
right.
they'll pick I'll be.
Yeah, exactly.
My face looks weird. It's just a bad fucking photo. Right. If I was to be sitting there and just had sunglasses on and was stiff and not moving, it would be a better photo.
Right.
It's just something I noticed, but I like to put on a show. I've always liked to move around at least a little bit,
Well, and it fits that band. It's such a weird thing with your band because there's Steven who's all over the stage. He's not running like he used to. I do notice that he does kind of walk a little more where he used to run. Right. He used to run back and forth.
Now on an arena, perhaps these are smaller stages. You got to be careful. We've moved the monitors for us back a little bit so he can walk in front of those. And his strategy is more to just kind of keep moving from left to right the whole show. Give everybody each side a chance to see him, and everybody that made it up front gets a chance to be close to him, and he sings to him and asks them how they're doing and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And he's got that Way Cool Junior strut about him.
Right.
When he goes side to side, it's not like he's just it's not like Ozzy that looks like a tweaker twitching his way across the stage. He looks cool, kind of, he's got that, Here I fucking am, motherfucker.
In a Brady Bunch outfit, kind of.
Yeah.
We gotta keep on moving. Gotta keep on moving.
I hate to be cliche guy, but he's got the way cool junior strut. He really does. and it works. And it's good because, like, on your side of the stage, you're always jumping around and running around. And
right.
So, and I mean, you were even doing that with Bow Wow Wow. You know, you were out on stage with Bow Wow Wow. You were running back and forth, and you know.
I think I do it today just to give people some excitement. Like, is he gonna fucking die tonight? He's moving around too much. Kind of like when you go to like a drag race or NHRA race, you're hoping a car crashes or something. Like, oh, he's really going for it tonight. Could be the night we could see him die right now.
Sure. But what's weird is the opposite side of the stage. Those guys aren't on you guys. You know, like Monaco's very like almost like he's concentrating on what he's playing to make sure.
And he has better photos.
Yeah, he does take good photos on stage. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's just the dynamic of your band. You know, it would look ridiculous if you guys were all running back and forth. You know, like lunatics. Too, you know,
instead he just turns his volume up too high. That's his move around. No,
yeah, just turn it up. That's good. You'll hear me. But yeah, you know, as far as getting back to the fat thing, though, anybody can be thin if they want to. Really, I mean, it's right. I don't buy, you know, personally, and this is as a fucking 400-pound guy speaking. I don't buy into the genetics thing a whole lot on. I believe that you might be genetically inclined to like food more and like exercise less, but I don't believe, look, not to sound like an asshole here, but I didn't see any fucking genetically fat guys coming out of the Holocaust. They were all real fucking skinny. All of them.
Some families have genetic weirds, you know, like Bam Margera, like him and his dad have that stubby kind of thing going on. That seems kind of genetic. They kind of look the same.
But again, if he wanted to be, if Bam wanted to be skinnier, he just wouldn't put so much shit in his face.
Right.
If I wanted to be skinnier, I just would. If I ate salad only, if I ate 2 salads and a Slim Fast every day, guess what? I'd be 100 fucking pounds lighter in 6 months.
Sure.
That's just a fact. That doesn't matter.
You'd be fucking miserable.
The genetics, none of that shit. Steven Tyler said it best. And you know, I'll use the great philosopher Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. He said he never eats cake. Why? Because it's not worth the weight that he'd have to fight to get off. So he doesn't eat cake. And
well, I don't know about Steven Tyler, but I know a little about Steven Taller, which Steven Taller was the Aerosmith cover band singer that Frankie was playing with. And he had to, you know, really be Steven Tyler looks wise for this gig. Right. And he wore the outfit. He had he was skinny. He was taller though. So instead of Steven Tyler, they called him Steven Taller.
Yeah. Like he had plastic surgery and shit, didn't he to look like him?
He denies that he did, but his lips are all like,
yeah, he totally, you know, he could deny anything he wants. I knew him when he was in fucking LA Guns.
That's right.
What's his
I played
name?
with him too for a minute.
Chris Von Dahl, right?
Yeah, Chris Van Dahl. But anyways, moving forward, not to throw his medical shit out there, but he was on the keto diet, and so he would just eat like, apparently, I'm getting this anecdotally, but he was just eating sausage and cheese and shit.
Like that. It's like a modified Atkins type deal.
Right. Right. And lo and behold, he had a fucking heart attack.
Sure.
The only difference was I think that freaked him out and he just completely retired, where I was like, I'm not missing any Stephen Pearson shows.
I don't want anybody to steal my gig, motherfucker.
Right. Right. And so I had to play a show 2 weeks later. I didn't even have time to really, and I was moving for that goddamn 2 weeks, which was awful. So there was no time, man, to bleed.
Right.
I just got back to work, motherfucker.
As you should, man. You're a working guitarist. You gotta be on it, man. You gotta hold your position, I guess, is what you have to do.
But you know, he was a skinny guy. And I've talked about this before. You don't know what's going on internally with somebody, but what the foods that you eat, it could be coating your arteries, and that is hereditary. They say, having heart disease and things like that, and you got to mitigate it. Make sure you're not
Whatever.
clogging that shit like I was.
I'll just keep saying, as a fat guy, if I wanted to be skinny, I would eat salad.
Oh,
It's that simple.
so I know what I was gonna bring up, and I should know the
Yeah.
name of it, but,
Yeah.
what do you think about the diabetes drug that was repurposed, where a lot of people are taking that a couple times a year or
I
it's a
pay no
month
attention.
supply?
I pay no
I guess it
attention.
makes you feel, like, full and people are, like, losing all this weight, but if you stop taking it, you're fucked.
Oh, well, great. That's fantastic. You know,
Right.
well,
It was for diabetics, though, so what's
right.
unfortunate is apparently it's causing the price of it to skyrocket because they
Okay.
repurpose it. Before, it was just something that diabetics needed to survive.
Sure.
Now it's a glamour thing.
Right. Nice. Well,
Uh,
we can get more into that in a little bit because we have
alright.
guests.
Oh, well, shit.
We definitely have guests. Our first guest is waiting in the wings. So why don't we do this? We are going to play one quick bumper. We'll play a little bit of the music of the great Jason Bieler, who many of you know from Saigon Kick, and the rest of you should know from his current release, Postcards from the Asylum, or the Heathens EP, which is actually just out now, and then Postcards comes out shortly. And we will get into all of that here in a couple of minutes. But for now, let's play a quick spot. We'll come back with some music, and we will be back with Jason Bieler right here on Chris Aiken Presents.